Welcome to Chapter 3, Land Use. Land use coupled to exploration and mining. First, we need to understand how mining is treated in the permitting in order to have it fitted into the land use. There are two main pathways for permitting of minerals. One is the pathway that is owned or controlled by the state, granting mining company right to explore and extract. So there is necessary at least exploration permit and a mining permit, and also an EIA. And there might be other permits as well on the way there. The second is minerals control owned by the landowner. And the right to explore and to extract has to be by agreement with the landowner. And the mining company does not need exploration mining license, but it will need all other legal permits, also environmental permits in the EIA. So in this sphere, the part that is state-controlled or granted by the government, most metals are there. There are many cases called concession minerals. Those that are owned or controlled by the landowners, it's a number of the industrial minerals and aggregates that goes in that pathway. So it's necessary to have data and guidelines in order for the land use process to work. It's also necessary that the permitting process is integrated into the land use process. And looking at it time-wise, we go from geological information. This is always necessary. And there must be a risk capital, or there must be capital involved to support the mining company. And then exploration can start, then it's extraction, then it's remediation, rehabilitation, and in the end, it's the after use with new land use once the mine has been closed. We have a number of important aspects when it comes to dealing with the land use. Of course, firstly, access to high quality for minerals and land use planning. That is essential. It's also beneficial if we have land use tools that allow weighing of interest and changes to land use and zoning plans. In this aspect, minerals must be needed to be assessed on par with other land use, that they are equally valuable and that the land use can be changed. If not, there is no interest for a mining company to do any type of exploration and investigation for potential mine. The permitting, the exploration as land use has been shown that it can be done in parallel with other land uses. This is because exploration has often minimal or no impact on other land uses and is a short-term temporary activity. People might be concerned that it changes groundwater movements and so forth. This is normally not a problem because the upper part of the earth is heavily cracked and contains far more pathways for water to travel than very, very thin, narrow drill holes in the same rock. This need, of course, to be shown. Mining license is also necessary and will also need to have, is also a land use aspect because it grants exclusive right to mine. It will also assist in the final designation of the land. There is an environmental impact assessment, and when it's been done, it's properly, it will show the extent of the mining area and thus can support in the land use process. So finally, we have done the land use for the permitted mine that needs to be granted as soon as the process permitting is done, because it's very expensive to wait for an amendment for a land use plan if this cannot be dynamically, rather than wait for the revision of the land use plan, which may be 3, 5, or 10 years in between revisions. Here we will mention a few practical land use aspects, particularly from the point of view of mining. There are many more of this we are aware of. Land use plans, they need to be possible to amend when needed, not at time of revision, which might be quite long in between. And this is because exploration plans from a mining company, as well as mining plans for mining, they might come any time in between the time of revision. And it's very expensive to wait all of the years until the next revision, and this might be a cause for a mining company not to go into the process of exploration and mining. The exploration license need to be connected to land use, of course. So it covers often a much larger area than the final map, can often be done in parallel with other land uses due to limited lasting impacts. Even drilling itself will cause very little or no visible lasting signs. It will not make any problems to water transport, because it's a very tiny, small pinpoint needle in the ground, which in the top part of the 500,000 meters of the Earth's crust is usually heavily cracked. The mining license itself covers the mineral deposit. So that is a much smaller area than the exploration license. The mining area, on the other hand, it covers not only the mining license, but there is also the industrial site and the area for the waste dumps. So this is often much larger than the actual mineral deposit. And then in the end, we have remediation. That is the process where we rehabilitate the mining area and transform this into the new land use. And it's important here for the decision makers to understand that in the European Union, it normally depends a cash security or bond from a bank that ensures there is money always available for remediation. That is because if the company go bankrupt, there must be cash security to ensure of the cleanup and rehabilitation of the area. And that this is a prerequisite for having permits granted. Graphical information system, information and data, that is of course a key aspect in both the land use as well as for the mining and exploration companies. And therefore, all maps and land use data need to be digital and accessible in a common GIS format. And not only for a specific software, but generally for different types of GIS. There need to be maps of exploration and mining licenses. There need to be geological maps found at Geological Surveys. It's the geology itself. It's the mineral deposits, those that have been discovered, because they will have might be a key to where to find new deposits or develop those that are already known. Geochemical maps, loose sediment maps of soils, and of course geophysical data. All of this is used by the mining company in order to build geological models in order to make a reliable model, statistically reliable, of the resource estimate, together with their own investigations. Of course, land use information is stored by the official land use authority. In Sweden, for example, this is done at municipality, but also at the land cadastre, and also other responsible authorities. And this differs from member state to member state. Among land uses that mining need to be fit into, or be in conflict, or need to adapt to, or chosen main land use are environmental protected areas, heritage areas, city planning, strategic planning, infrastructure, recreational areas, not the least, and others of societal important land uses. It could be reindeer husbandry, it could be farming, and so forth. We have been discussing that we need land use tools. Now we go into some specifics here. And they are being used such that when you have an exploration company, mining company, they come in with new demands on the land use, and that this is done in the permitting process. There is a need to be able to weigh the different interests in order to choose the optimal land use in the land use and zoning plans. In Sweden and Norway, there is done in such a way that there are national interests. These are areas that are appointed strategically, showing where we have important ore deposits, where we have important infrastructure, where we have important industrial sites, and so forth, and also reindeer husbandry. And when there becomes a need for different land uses, then these are used in order to determine what is the optimal land use at the particular site. And this will be part of the decision process in the permitting, as well as have an effect on the land use. In Greece, for example, they have areas appointed for mining. This means that the exploration can be done within these areas. But it also has a huge demand on the local government in terms that there is a need to investigate areas where are there really important deposits there. So therefore, the Geological Service do quite a lot of initial exploration. The permitting, like environmental permit, which is based upon the EIA, is also a tool that can assist in supporting the land use plans. And finally, we have a quiz that is necessary for the student to answer on, and there is also vocabulary to support the student in his further work. Thank you.